Thank you for joining me, everyone. Here's my reaction to New Zealand as Middle-earth and Warriors of the Third Age. Let's flow. Here we go. What's next? Okay. I have no idea. Oh, here we go. Hi, Barry.
Of Emmanuel, where Frodo and Sam are starting to get closer to Mordor's Mount Ruapehu,
which is the main volcano in the middle of the North Island.
Okay.
It's just this fantastic landscape, very kind of lunar landscape at times. It's got all this very craggy rock, kind of feels like you're on another planet.
It's got these amazing volcanic landscapes and fantastic formations, and I mean, it's an incredibly stark and powerful environment. We just thought, wow, this is pretty atmospheric. It was fantastic.
Right.
It was on a ski field and at high altitude, and it's not entirely the best situation to have a whole film crew in.
And it's pretty remarkable because you go up there and you see all this volcanic rock all through this area, and you wonder what it would be like skiing over this in the winter. I guess you'd have to hope that they had plenty of snow.
There's no way you could ski.
Things didn't start.
Is this where you're supposed to ski?
That volcanic rock is pretty short.
I don't think so.
When we were looking for the dead marshes, we'd been told that there was a particular place just out of Tiana that had some potential. We looked at this spot. It's called Kepler Mire. It's essentially a big valley that was full of water, and over thousands of years, all of these mosses had grown in there and basically filled up this lake.
And the helicopter dropped us off in the marsh on what looked like land. But it wasn't land at all. You could go jump up and down and realize you're on this thing that's floating.
We want this to be as rugged and inhospitable as we can. So I think we found the ideal place.
Peter put his foot into the water and went to step on, just checking how solid the moss was.
He was in his shorts.
Look at this.
And he decided to
oh my God.
His
foot sucked down.
Leg disappeared to the
That's
hip.
Crazy.
The problem with the real marshland is that you couldn't actually film with actors on it because it doesn't have a solid
It's not solid enough.
So we abandoned that idea. And we decided to mainly recreate the marsh in the stage, but we did some aerial photography.
Very interesting. Did you see that?
It was later when we were doing
How brave. Just stick your foot in there.
We were flying to go shoot something else, and we had a camera. And I kind of looked down at the landscape that we're over, and I said, look, let's just start shooting it. And got a few shots that are in the movie.
Okay, yeah. Good idea. Bulburn, Alexandra.
In the book, the plains of Rohan are kind of described as prairie land, and we actually don't have that in New Zealand. The best we could find for Rohan was a slightly more dramatic landscape at a place called Bulburn.
It's beautiful, incredibly rugged, rocky terrain formed through volcanic action.
And it really broke up the flatness of the land and really gave it a nice, unique look. Those locations for when Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are chasing after the Uruk-hai, which are these amazing locations down on the South Island. Great views of the expanse.
And it's like this wonderful, huge vistas of, nothing, no power poles, houses, nothing as far as the eye can see. Just this, like, epic
How can this much land be just untouched by the world? That is fantastic. Where's this, New Zealand?
The South Island called Pulburn Lake.
On the edge of the lake is where Peter laid out the Westfall village, which is the Rohan village that eventually gets attacked by the wild men.
We first visited that location in the middle of winter. I remember how we went by helicopter, and the lakes were actually frozen over to some degree. I remember us throwing stones on the lakes and kind of thinking, oh, well, we don't want to come back here during winter.
Right.
And we didn't. We actually were there during summer. Any part of the movie at all that is from the point that they leave Edoras to the point that they arrive at Helm's Deep, that entire journey of the refugees, all of that is done at Deer Park Heights, which is just right outside Queenstown. It's literally 5 minutes drive from a very large city. And it has all sorts of amazing stuff up there. You don't see any civilization.
Hi, I'd like to introduce you to Alan Lee and friend.
Oh, look at that.
You get in the cars?
Yeah.
He's like, give me some.
Oh, you have got food.
Oh, no, yeah. And it's very accessible. It's a very practical location, and it's also anywhere you stand there, you've just got the Southern Alps, the Remarkables, just rocketing straight up. Anywhere you point a camera at Deer Park Heights, you get a sensational backdrop.
Everyone that doesn't know New Zealand particularly and doesn't know that area assumes that lovely shot of the Rohan refugees walking around the edge of the lake, that's very much a digitally enhanced background, but in fact it's exactly what's there.
Oh my God.
The stunning mountain range.
That is stunning. It is breathtaking. And it is what they actually filmed. It's not digital. You know, they're digital, you know, it's so realistic that you can't really tell the difference.
Trying to find a location for Edoras was a real challenge.
It's very specifically described as being a city on a rounded knoll that is set in front of a range of snowy mountains. And I was a bit pessimistic about our chances because I certainly didn't know anywhere in New Zealand that had
really?
this. Dave Comer,
look at this. I mean, there's so much land that's just untouched there.
To luck onto this place.
They literally did stumble across this place that it's exactly as described in the book.
What are the odds? It's just a miracle. Every step of the way.
One's called Mount Potts, and the other one is called Erewhon, which is nowhere spelled backwards. And it certainly was nowhere.
That's so interesting
but a
that
beautiful nowhere.
They can just fly around just looking for a location that resembles the description in the novels. Like, what? What in the world?
In the middle of this valley, there's this crag that sticks up, this huge, immovable piece of granite that not even the glacier could wear down.
The actual place is called
Glacier.
Mount Sunday.
During our helicopter recce's, we went to this place and sure enough, flew up the valley, and there it was. It was classic Edoras.
Yeah.
It was straight out of the Rohan films.
It's just so marvelous.
Mathilian's a location that I've always found very evocative. It's like, you know, this rather pretty countryside, and it's got pine forests and beautiful trees and streams. We ended up doing bits of Mathilian throughout New Zealand. But, I mean, you know, even if we just get a couple
Can't stop smiling.
second unit walking shots, you know.
That amazing vista you get when you're looking down at Asgilia, and we're with Faramir and Sam and Frodo and Gollum. That was all shot down in the South Island in a place called 12 Mile Delta. And it just gave you this great expansive view that works really well for that moment.
We filmed part of Athelian, the sequence at the little campsite that Frodo and Sam are at, and Gollum comes running up with the rabbit, and also the scene where they see the Oliphants. We filmed that at a place called 12 Mile Reserve.
What did they call them? Oliphants. Yeah, Oliphants. Mavora Lakes.
We searched all around New Zealand for a location for Fangorn Forest, because in the book it's, you know, one of the most ancient forests of Middle Earth. It's very
My God, Peter was out there.
And it's like a haunted forest.
Like a location scout too? What?
Well, this is the Edge of Fangorn. I mean, we're not...
What is going on? He's at every location?
The ideal place.
Come on.
For Merry and Pippin to escape into the forest, isn't it? And this is in that scenario,
Wow.
this is Fangorn. But we don't shoot
It's just
inside
so
of
much
it.
preparation.
We just use the edge of the forest.
So we're saying the pile of dead orcs just be in this
Here.
area here.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
Helm's Deep. Yeah, well, that was the real challenge. It was, I mean, it was a great challenge, and we got lucky in that we found a disused quarry. A quarry, by its nature, is really harsh. You know, you have no vegetation, you have nothing to soften
Right.
it on it. So if it's a hot day, it's incredibly hot. You get all that bounce and
Look at
sun off
this.
rock, etc. And if it's a cold day, everything's slippery and wet and uncomfortable. So it was an incredibly hard place to work.
And it was, you know, dank and wet
Okay.
and gray and cold. I mean, there's no other way to describe it.
Well, one, it was a
Jeez, just the amount
quarry
of
to build
preparation.
a
It's
set, and
just
secondly, the quality of it allowed us
unbelievable.
to sort of take the place over for a year. It was a perfect place to build it. I don't know where we would have built it if this quarry hadn't existed.
It's so amazing to see because they've done this multiple times. From the Fellowship of the Ring behind the scenes to this one where they're showing a location that they have to literally start from scratch and build into,
Welcome.
you know, what we see on
This
screen.
is disc
which,
2 of the appendices on this grand special edition of the Two Towers. Doesn't it just kick
Hi,
ass?
Elijah.
On this
Yes, it
DVD,
does.
you will find many documentaries basically documenting the filming process all the way on through the post-production process until the movie was released. This is a very interesting journey. The filming process itself is very complicated, mainly because we didn't necessarily know what the movie would be, and then the post-production was an arduous process. But now you can see it here at home, played out before you. So enjoy. I'll stop talking your ear off.
Yes,
Get
I
back
will
to the
enjoy.
DVD. All right, take care.
Thank you. You too. All right, we're going to the next one. Warriors of the Third Age.
The stunt team did really a remarkable job. We put together a core team of about 30 guys from New Zealand that were the local stunt guys. We brought in George Rugi, who was the head stunt coordinator.
Everybody came there with raw talent. There was nobody there without talent. And it just had to be directed and focused and understood.
Some of them had worked together on other shows, like Herc and Xena, the TV shows. So they had a lot of experience together, which was good.
That is good.
90% of us are all martial arts, and you look down the list, it's all black belt, black belt, black belt, and we've got an Olympic wrestler. So it's a real sort of, real bunch of athletes. A couple of very, very good actors in the group as well.
Yeah. Yeah, all of these scenes had to be choreographed, right?
You know, seeing all these big name actors, and they would say hello to everyone they could, you know, and they were really humble. And I just saw them and I thought, well, they're just another person.
They considered us to be part of the stunt team as much as we, in a way, considered them to be part of the cast. There wasn't really any differentiation. There wasn't that line, you know.
Right. Well, look at you practicing.
Early on, we realized, okay, well, there's all these different cultures in Middle Earth. And because they're different cultures, be they good guys or bad guys, they still behave in different ways.
So that an Uruk, for example, doesn't fight in the same way as a Rohan warrior, and they don't fight in the same way as an elf or a warrior orc or an orc or any of the others. They all need to be unique and distinct.
Right.
Every single character we got given had their own type of style of moving, the way they would walk, the way they would have their heads, the way, you know, just their whole posture.
You can even extend your jaw.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
There were probably about 10 or so different styles that we had to adapt.
With all the styles,
10 or so different styles of the way they walked
we didn't
and
have
held their
enough
face.
people to segregate them off and just be one. Everybody had to be multi-talented. And a lot of those guys actually then went off to train other people, all of the extras and things like that for the background.
As well as, of course, even more so, training our actors.
They will have developed an extreme sophistication and elegance and style and skill.
Yes, I just don't even know what to do with myself.
For the elves in battle, it would be exactly that, you know, where you'd be, you know, fighting someone over here and just know that that Urk's dead now, you know, and be able to use that circularity to just come around and keep moving.
We didn't want it to be anything too specific, so martial artists would be able to see it and think, oh, that's what he's doing. So we did a mix mash of all sorts of things.
But
through that, I also found more and more depth in what Legolas was about.
He's capable of taking care of business.
Good stuff.
We knew that the sword fighting in this film had to
good
look
stuff.
authentic. We knew that we were going to have to give them
they had to like practice so much, of course.
The actual fight routines. And he was actually in the Darth Vader costume fighting Alec Guinness in the original Star Wars in 1977.
I mean, when I first met Bob, I was like, oh.
It was wonderful for me because I have never had a group of 20 stuntmen who've never done swordplay. And so I could mold them in the fashion I wanted.
This is Aragorn.
He's all excited.
Fighting 3.
Look. Why is this so exciting to see?
Bob was just amazing at basically designing the routines. I mean, he would, it's all his ideas. I mean, he would just work out every move in all the fights, and he'd train both of the actors or the stunt guys. You know, he would train them. He'd be on set. He'd supervise.
A lot of people think that when you've got a fight, all you need to do is rehearse the moves and say, okay, where's the director? Let's shoot it.
Yeah.
That is not it.
Okay.
When you first got the fight in sequence, you then have to learn it because you're not safe until you can do it at the speed the camera desires.
Mr. Bob Anderson, wonderful swordsman who would take you through these moments, going, it's a number 3 and a number 5 and a dirt and here and here and here, and you think, oh, it's pussy, no one fights like that. He goes, okay, we'll speed it up now, I'm going to show you. And then he would do the sequence, and it was breathtaking, deadly, wonderful.
Bob was great, and we used to practice, and he just used to do it over and over again. It was really good training, really disciplined. We were all there doing it.
I didn't even think about all of the hours of preparation of just practicing.
I was in LA doing another film, and I'd walk down the street going,
right, look at her doing another film and
trying to remember all the sword positions.
Of course,
I'm trying to
we
tell
all
you.
know that Vigo Mortensen came in late.
Yeah, that's right.
Battle.
I remember I was still sort of jet lagged and was taken right over to this army base where they were all living in these barracks, the whole stunt team. And I look over, and they're at the end of this sort of, okay, Vigo, you stand over here. Hey, why don't you hold this? And he gives me the sword. He gives me, I'm like, street clothes, basically.
It's
and,
like, what?
And he's there, and he sort of steps out of the way, and he goes, okay, go. And they all start screaming, and they're all running at me, and I'm like,
kidding?
I just like that, and then they goes, okay, and then they stop, like right here. You know,
that is outrageous. I am so mad that they did that.
What am I going to do?
How dare you? They ran right up to him. Yeah.
It was just a great way to
That's crazy, though.
Vigo right
they
into
just
the
threw him in there, yeah.
Of course, Vigo, latched onto it quickly. And
the first time I was
he
there,
did. He had to.
I went out to dinner, and Liv Tyler was there, and she said, have you started training for sword fighting? I was like, no, well, don't like the stunt people do all that? Like, what do you actually have to do? And she said, oh, you have no idea. The training, it's really hard, she said. And you should get onto it. You should ring them and find out what you have to do, she said, because it's they expect
you out here practicing.
A lot of people think doing a sword fight is just knowing a bit about sword play and then go clonk, 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 parry, riposte, run here, jump there, do this, do that. But it isn't.
Working with Bob gave me an insight into what it meant to get the job done in a stunt sense, in an action sense, in a sequence sense, but also maintain the character.
I remember every now and then I'd say, well, hey, Bob, in a normal situation, that wouldn't happen. And he'd just chuckle and go, oh, my boy, this is the movies. And he really had a nice feel for the balance of reality and movie magic as to what you could and couldn't get away with.
Now, these are my best guys. Really, I'm not kidding you. They're better than that even. They are the best.
Helm's Deep was certainly bigger, stranger, more difficult than anything I had ever seen.
Okay.
Just the terrain was difficult. It was a rock quarry, and there were real rocks all the way
around. Look at all these extras.
Ground everywhere.
Just outrageous.
One of our second unit directors,
major production.
John Mahaffey, he's a wonderfully patient person and very well organised, incredibly focused, and I thought he'd be a great fit for what was ultimately going to be the chaos of Helm's Deep. The stunties had to bear the brunt of most of the shooting, and these were a group of really great stunt performers, almost all Kiwis.
I'm Salah. This is Paul, and this is Marcus.
Look at
close up. You're a Kai. Professional stunt people.
Oh my God, that makeup is just too good because they look hideous.
And 3 months of which were at night, and with either manufactured rain or real rain, and somewhat hellish condition as a battle would be.
I've never seen any group of stunt people take more of a beating without complaining at all.
The hardest things were the high falls off the castle in Helm's Deep, but as soon as you fall off, you can't see anything.
That was the hardest part.
Yeah,
that was the biggest surprise, was having to put on something you can't breathe very well. And when they had to spot your ground, your mark.
Okay.
You have no peripheral. All you can see is as you're falling down, your eyes can only see the mat. But then when you turn over, you've got to land on your back.
It's so dangerous.
As soon as you go over, you can't see anything. So it's like, well, hopefully this works out.
How did no one get injured? Like, that's crazy.
You're right?
Yes.
Okay. That looked good.
They took a real pride in.
They really took care of him. Like, you okay? You all right?
Another notch and really staying amped during all those months of shooting that they demanded everything from themselves and from everyone else.
It actually became quite humorous because there was this challenge that happened on set between the different factions. The Urukai who were standing off camera behind us watching what was going on started to taunt them. They began to get their weapons and they'd start smacking them against their chest plates and chanting at the elves, teasing them, taunting them, and jeer at them just like you would in war, your mother, and really sort of wind them up. And in the end, they started doing a haka, Maori haka, which is a war challenge. Needless to say, of course, that these elves have got arrows cocked in their strings ready to fire down into fictitious Urukai.
We didn't realize it was shooting while they were doing it. So we just thought that they were giving us a lot of flack. So some of us were going back at them, come up there, doing that and this. And next minute we had cut.
We had a few modern day gestures creep into the program there, and we had to cut. But it was one of those fantastic, wonderful, spontaneous moments that it was.
Good idea.
You had to be there.
We often play lots of jokes on each other. Hey mate, look at Benny's asleep on the chair and we tied her down. Can you come in and do the old? Hey guys, I need you all to sit
like
down.
That. Are they really asleep? Wow.
There was a great sense of fun about it too, which keeps everyone sane.
Mm-hmm. So one of the stunt folks in particular that I always enjoyed hanging with was Lonnie, and she could do all the different stunt roles needed, even though she wasn't as big as some of the other guys.
I've got a love-hate relationship with my prosthetics. Sometimes they're not exactly the most comfortable in the heat, like today.
I can only imagine.
Make you lose kilos, I can tell you.
That is sweltering.
Costume. But what was funny about it was that you'd have these moments with all these different Urukai, getting killed and hacking and slashing, but you always knew where Lonnie was because of her voice.
The stunty men are and then I'd be in there. So, Rick would be like, yeah, Lonnie, we seen you last night. You were over there. We could hear you. And I was like, oh, sorry, Rick.
I remember Barry Osborne having a good laugh about it, and we would just sort of sit and enjoy it.
It was awesome.
Good for you. I'm out there being a stunt woman.
Nobody really knew how it was going to come together. Physically, it was telling. I mean, prior to Helm's Deep, I had nice female legs. Well, after 12 weeks of night shoots, wearing Urukai costume and sweating, and I don't know, it was 30, 40 pounds or something, I don't know, but I had tree trunks. Where were the nice legs? I was like, oh my God.
They were the true heroes of Helm's Deep. I mean, their spirit, their energy, their enthusiasm just ended up giving us great material on film. And I think in a sense, Vigo inspired the stunt team because they saw how he was behaving, which was to be totally kind of dedicated 100% to the movie.
Can't stop smiling.
And they were inspired by him, and I think in a sense Vigo was inspired by the stunt team as well. They really helped each other through that fairly arduous period of their lives.
I mean, as a study, you want to fight Vigo because he'll give it as much as you will, and he'll take it as well. And when you're in a fight with him, you feel like you're in a real scrap.
He doesn't do the pain thing. He doesn't seem to acknowledge it, And
he doesn't do the pain thing.
I do. He does things like he headbutts you when he meets you.
Every time we would see him, we would give him, shake the hand, then give a little headbutt.
Went to such an extreme that it became, a daily ritual.
We'd be in the bar having a drink and cheers, V, and he'd be having whack, and now I'm one of the stunties. I'm like, okay, well, you didn't have to do that though, mate.
Oh my God.
It was a sort of really ridiculous, fantastically foolish idea. Say something sweet and endearing, and then smash your head against theirs.
I don't know where that comes from. It's I think it's like...
No, thank you.
It's spontaneous, violent love.
No.
Is what I think it is.
No, thank
you.
We
were at a bar one night, and Vigo whispers to me, Solo, go grab Lando and headbutt him. I says, oh, no, I don't want to do that. He's like, still it'll be fun. And so I was sort of a bit iffy about doing it, but no, I went over and grabbed him. I said, hey Lando, how you doing? Some good things. And I just grabbed him and went, whack.
Don't do that.
White light. And I was thinking I might never see you again.
Oh my God.
But I think he enjoyed it.
No.
It wasn't the best thing to do because I think we got in trouble from the makeup artist. He had a little red spot on his head.
And he had that,
Oh my God.
Perfect, pale, elven complexion, this thing on his head.
Oh my God.
So they had another
What
drink. I
in
think
the
they
world?
did it to him once more. And
Now, every time I see him,
Why would
I
you
see the
do
white
that?
light.
it does seem silly now, in retrospect, that, you know, a bunch of grown men going around headbutting each other and anywhere they encountered each other. In
Yeah, that is
Wellington or
silly.
New Zealand.
How
Or even
dare you?
here. I mean, I've certainly done it here, or at the premiere in Los Angeles or London. When
Please
I
don't.
saw Sala, bam, immediately.
Okay, that wasn't too bad. Okay, we can handle that.
I've never met or worked with a more committed and
My God, I love
team-oriented
that.
group of stunt people in my life.
I love that they share this kind of stuff with us.
Every single man and woman on that team were remarkable.
You could trust each other. That's how good it got between all of us. On the
Yeah.
day when it came to
I thought I had the greatest job in the world. Every morning and every evening, I got up and got naked, got into costume with 25 of the gorgeous bodies in New Zealand. It was awesome from my point of view.
you want to work with the best people. You want to work on the best shows. And Lord of the Rings was, for that year, there was no other place you'd rather be than here in
Right.
Wellington. Here in New
Okay,
Zealand,
look at this.
shooting Lord of the Rings.
The story's not about action. You know, it's a beautiful story that has action elements in it.
You have to realize that you're
Yeah, action elements.
a
Yeah.
small part of telling this story, and your obligation is to tell that story.
Yeah.
So it's not all about you, you know,
Right.
as much as we'd like it, but we sure would like an extended stunt version of the thing, just for old time's sake.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind either. An extended stunt version for sure. Because look at this. Wow. The lengths that they went to in order to put this movie on screen, I am telling you. I think the next thing is like the making of movie, the making of the Two Towers. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop it here. I don't know how much of this that I am going to be able to actually get posted on YouTube, but I'm going to try my best to get as much of it on there as possible, okay? I'm just, of course, enjoying myself every step of the way. You know, it's so good to see them just in their element. It's like just learning about the locations and what they went through to find the perfect location. It's just, you know, it's just really revealing all of the different obstacles that they had to face. Like this was an obstacle, trying to find the perfect location that was described in the books and in New Zealand, which, I mean, there's a lot of land that is just remains untouched by the world, you know, and it's like really remarkable, really just breathtaking. I find it very interesting that Peter was, you know, a part of going on these location scouts. Like, how long were they working on this movie? Because like beforehand, because my goodness, Peter just was in every single part of the movie making process, because for him to be flying out over, you know, New Zealand, trying to find locations, I'm going to assume that they actually hired a location scout that went in search of these places first and came up with a list of places that you know, that were suggestions, and then Peter would go out and check out the suggestions and not just blindly be flying around trying to find these locations, because my goodness, talk about time consuming. And you know, he has been shown in being like involved in every part of the process. So I'm just blown away to see him in location just before they even, you know, got the green light on the different location. He's in there checking it out and coming up with scenes, and okay, we're gonna stand here, we're gonna have them over here, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna it's just really mind-blowing to me. I just love it. I didn't realize that the movie making process was this involved. Like, it's so much that is involved in you know, creating these movies. So now it's like I'm able to take what I'm learning about the Lord of the Rings filmmaking process and just kind of applying it to other big movies that I really enjoyed, because my goodness, did you see all of those extras that they needed in order to do like the Uruk-hai, the different orc scene and the elves, and you know, and then they had to, all of these people had to learn, like there's a choreography that goes into this. So that's that's so much time of just practicing in order to get it to flow just naturally and effortlessly and beautifully, which, you know, they were able to do. Just really remarkable to me. And I like how they said that they took, you know, there were a few people that you learn all the different styles, because they had to have different styles of walking for the different like factions of the orcs and all of that, you know, and then they would have to learn it because they didn't have enough people. So then you had to be versatile. You had to be able to do like wherever you were needed as an extra, that's where you went. So that's very interesting. I hadn't really thought about that a lot of the extras were just playing the different roles when necessary, you know. Oh, just very interesting. You know, I enjoyed seeing a little bit more of the behind the scenes with the stunt people, and that looked pretty, them falling off of that like castle, them falling down off of that ladder was pretty dangerous, actually. So, you know, they go through a lot of discomfort with the prosthetics. They are like, you know, meeting danger at every corner when they're like doing their rehearsing with their sword fighting and all of that. And then they're doing these really dangerous stunts. All for the sake of bringing the Lord of the Rings to life, which is just, you know, what can you say? It's just it's just a wonderful masterpiece, and it's a miracle. It really is. I can't say that enough. I can't come up with any new words to describe just how incredible, you know, this movie is. And this behind the scenes is even just as incredible, even more incredible. Like, it's just, yeah, you know, I just love it because it just highlights so many things that we didn't even consider, and then it like literally shines a light on things that we would never even know about. So just genius. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up here, and then next time I'm gonna do the movie The Making of. I think that's what's next. Okay, all right, thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, let's flow.